Hey guys, Marisa at kitchentablestamper.com. I've got a really cool project for you. This is day one of our 12 days of Christmas. You can collect all 12 project sheets. 6 will be here on YouTube and live events on Facebook, and 6 will be available to subscribers only. So get subscribed to the Kitchen Table Stamper email. The link is in the description below, and collect all 12 of our 12 Days of Christmas tutorials. We'll have videos and a live event for 6 and project sheets for those, plus an additional 6 project sheets that are only for email subscribers. All right, so our first project today, in day 1 of 12 of the 12 Days of Christmas, is this beautiful matchbook for the Dove Promise gift. So these are iconic. Dove has produced these every year for Christmas for a long time. I linked you to the dark chocolate ones and to the assorted ones on Amazon. You can also get some great flavors in the Dove Promises without the gift wrap for Christmas, but some great flavors with some different colors. So this is going to come in handy all seasons, but here's a nice winter one for our 12 Days of Christmas. All right, I featured the Winterly Treetops bundle for Card Club for Cool people in November. So we're gonna do a little bit more with that, just something different. We're gonna bring in some cherry cobbler, and I love the copper clay with these Dove chocolates. So we're gonna take and change our color palette up just a little bit from the Card Club color palette. Let's get started with some copper clay cardstock and some nests of Winter Designer Series paper. I'll have a printable template or a printable project sheet available for you on the blog, day 1 of the 12 Days of Christmas, and in that project sheet will be a picture of our template. So our Designer Series paper for the wrapper is 4 1/8 by 5 3/4, and the base of our box is going to be copper clay cardstock. It is 3 5/8 by 8 1/4. Let's get the Simply Score tool and do some scoring here on our base pieces. I'm gonna drop my copper clay cardstock in on the 3 5/8 inch side, and I'm gonna score at 5/8 and 1 1/4. 2 3/8 and 3. We're going to rotate and we're going to score at 5/8, 1 1/4, 7, and 5 5/8. And all the measurements will be on the project sheet for you. Then we're going to drop our Designer Series paper into the Simply Score tool, and we're going to score along the 4 1/8 inch side at 3/8. And then 2 1/4. Now we need to grab this Stampin' trimmer because we got some pesky 16ths, but the pesky 16ths are really important to make sure that your matchbox fits snugly into the cover. All right, so we're gonna grab our paper trimmer now, and we're gonna score. Take this side, you've got this 3/8, right? And if you need to, give it a little fold, or do it all on your paper trimmer if you like, but I have a very hard time scoring on a paper trimmer. I'm just going to tell you. So I did my 3/8 and my 2 1/4 already, because I can do those on my Simply Scored, and you can give them a little crease if you do the same, if you prefer the Simply Scored. But to get those 16ths, we're going to have to bring out the paper trimmer. So you've got our cardstock, you got the 3/8. So if you're going to do it all on the paper trimmer, do 3/8, and then 1 1/16 is your next one. Park that cutting blade down there so you don't accidentally cut. That is actually one of my biggest problems using the trimmer as a scoring tool, is that I can easily get the blades mixed up. All right, then the next one is 2 1/4. So you can stop there and score if you're using just your trimmer, and then scoot all the way down to 2 15/16. That's just one little blip before the 3. And be sure to just use that scoring blade. I'm telling you, this is a recipe for disaster when I'm scoring. I almost undoubtedly, almost all the time, grab the wrong blade because I am in the habit of cutting with a cutter and scoring with the Simply Scored. So that's how I do it. I mix them up, and I only ever use the trimmer to score 16ths. All right, so we've got our lines all scored. So we're going to work them with a bone folder. And I'm always doing outside first and then right side in, because sometimes the design on your paper might crack if the paper's dry and the fibers stretch. And if it's going to crack, I want it to crack on the inside. So I do that first fold to the inside. There's the sleeve for your matchbox. Now let's do our mighty little drawer. And the little drawer has got double enforced sides, which makes it really nice and sturdy. And so we're going to work all the scores and then trim it according to the template. All right, so this is our wrap. I'm going to put that one aside. This is our little drawer, and we're going to trim the corners out. So starting with the second score line from the right on the long side, you're going to cut up 2 score lines. Just cut straight along and get rid of that score. Then we're going to cut an angle down and meet it, pull a little bit out. Then you're going to go to the next score line. So you're reversing back to your right to the first score line on the long side, and you're going to cut that little angle. And then you're going to cut a little angle here, just a small little angle, and remove those 2 squares. Then trim off the tab. So that's what you want in the corner. We're going to go ahead and do this exactly the same on all 4 corners where we have these squares. So turn it over end, and now this time we're going to go 2 from the left, cut up, angle, angle, and angle. Then cut off that little trapezoid. And that's what you want. We'll do the other side the same. Now for our adhesive, we're going to put adhesive on both sides of this box. On the inside of the box, we're going to take tear and tape and go along the edge of all 4 tabs. So the short one, the long one, and then the long and the short. Then we're going to flip over, and on this side, you'll put tear and tape on the squares. Now, I'm going to remove the squares first. You see my tear and tape went past the edge there. No big deal. I'm just going to fold it back. Now we can make our box. We're going to pull the corners up all the way around. Make a nice rectangle box. And this is what I'm talking about when I said that we're going to have a double wall box. So now you can remove the liner and the rest of the tabs. There's all 4 sticky, and I like to put the long ones in first. Since they don't have that bevel cut, we'll put them in first and then fold down. Now, the nice part about this is your wall's double thick, so it's going to make it very easy to slide. But it also is completely finished in the inside, so you don't have those little tabs sticking on the inside looking half finished. Now, I'm putting my little doves in. I had to sort through and find the ones that were wrapped the same way, because that's just the way that I am. You'll notice that the doves have kind of a rounded side and then a flat side. The rounded side fits best up and down. And so all my bows are going to go to the right. I got them all the same way. Is that too much for you? All right, they'll fit in there nice. Give them a little squeeze. Slide that aside for a minute and get your wrapper. You can add some tear and tape adhesive on this 3/8 inch tab. And now we can remove the liner. And if you want to, you can just wrap this so it's nice and snug. nice matchbox. And look, even with all that weight in there, it's measured perfectly with those 16ths so that it doesn't fall out. Slides nice and easy though, it's not too tight. Everything's nice and square, nothing buckles or bunches. It is really just the perfect matchbook. All right, let's do some stamping for our matchbook now. Got our little guy in there so you can see what we're doing. I've got my pair of birds from Winterly Treetops, and you've seen me do this trick a couple of times. If you are a card club member, we're going to get just the berries. That's what we want from this. So we're going to grab some vanilla cardstock, and we're going to ink up just the section of the stamp that we want using Memento Tuxedo Black ink. So I'm just going to ink this little corner here. That's really all we need is the berries. And we'll stamp that right off the edge of the paper. There's our berries. Now, because I don't want the paper to all be a mess, I'm going to cut that down before we actually send it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. But real quick, let's color our berries. I'm going to do a mix of cherry cobbler berries and copper clay to bring those colors in. And I've got dark and, I think medium Stampin' Blends here. And that's what I'm going to use for my branch. All right, there it is. And we don't need to run this whole big sheet through the machine, so I'm going to just trim that off. And let's get our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and die cut it using the coordinating Winterly Treetops dies. All right, you don't have to cut the whole image. You can just get what you need and selectively trim. I call this editing. You can really get a lot more bang for your bucks out of your stamp sets when you can see these creative differences. So we're not going to use the birds, but the berries are beautiful, and same with the greenery. And there's our berries. I've already done a little bit more die cutting with the Winterly Treetops. I've got the leafy sprig and then 3 pine boughs. These are Lost Lagoon. And then this is a brushed metallic. You can use the textured metallic or some gold foil sheets, whatever you've got there. Maybe a little gold glitter paper. Card Club for cool people. You're going to have leftover gold glimmer paper from your class packet. So we're going to just trim this away. So we have just the area that we need of that image. Got a piece of copper clay here, and this is 7/8 of an inch by 5 1/8 of an inch, and then I cut the dovetails at the end. I use my tailor tag punch, but you can use scissors or square punch. It's going to get a little bit of texture. We want to add that finishing detail here, and the perfect texture for this one is the Timber 3D embossing folder. So for that we'll need number 1. I'm going to pop this in my folder so that the pattern is on a vertical, so against the length of the banner. Pop number 4 on top and give it a crank. It's going to make the perfect coordinating texture, and it's a nice little detail that finishes the project. You could also stamp this with a wood grain background stamp and some copper clay ink if you wanted to. If you don't have that Timber 3D embossing folder though, what are you waiting for? It's really one of the best products. I've gotten so much use out of it. I've got another piece of Designer Series paper, Nest of Winter Designer Series paper. And this is 1 by 4.5, same little dovetail treatment. And the last die cut for our project is a little label, and I used the Unbounded Love dies. I love these dies. They're worth the cost of admission. Don't get bundled with the Unbounded Love stamp set unless you love it, because the dies will come in really handy even without the coordinating stamp set. Although, if you're watching this today, that Unbounded Love bundle is on sale as part of the seasonal sale. So check it out. If you're watching on November 13th or November 14th or 15th, you can get it for 10% additional. So you get the bundle discount of 10% plus additional 10% off for the seasonal sale. All right, there's our sending thanks and much love a little bit to the right so that we have room for the bow and some dingles. And I'm going to curl the ends of my banners just a little bit. I like them that way. If you want to glue them on completely flat, then glue them on completely flat. That's up to you. I'm going to put liquid glue on the cardstock banner. And then the nice part about 3D projects is you can build up all the dimensionals that you want. So I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of my designer series paper banner. I'm going to put quite a few, not as many as some people though. Veronica, I got your text message. I saw that. Leave a comment down below if you saw that, Veronica, if you heard me. All right, anyway, back to the program here. We're going to add our banner. Centered, right, left, top, bottom. And then we can grab a little bit of liquid glue and actually some more dimensionals. I'm going to put some dimensionals. Don't go all the way to the extreme top or bottom because the label is just a smidge wider than our box. And we're going to put that, just audition for a minute. And while we're auditioning that for a minute, I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue onto the stems of two of these pine boughs and get them kind of lined up where I want them. We're auditioning the placement of those. And we'll grab another one here and audition the placement. We want a nice 3 that look really good. And I want a pretty even space on my banner. Next up, the berries. I'm going to get some mini dimensionals here now for my berries. I'm going to put some on my berries and pop those where I want them to land. And then I'm going to take a half of one and pop it on the back of my sprig right here. These 2 leaves, second level from the bottom. Tuck that guy in where I want it to peak. Okay, I think I like my greenery, so we can peel the dimensionals on sending thanks and much love. And now, because the gold sprig isn't enough, we're going to add some. Oh, I want to pull this out just a little bit further. Yeah, just a little bit further. Let's see if I can get it to squinch out a little bit. There we go. We're going to add some of the gorgeous cherry cobbler and gold ribbon. You guys, I bought this like on pre-order forever ago. And this is the first time I'm using it. I love it with this winterly treetops suite with the Nest of Winter Designer Series paper. The colors are fabulous. I love it with the wrappers of my Dove chocolates, the gold, and then the gold sprig is beautiful. And we're just taking it outside of Card Club for Cool People just a little bit, changing it up a little bit, showing you some options to do with those materials that we featured in Card Club this month. All right, slide that aside and get a glue dot. Just tied a little bow. I thought about wrapping it, but it just didn't quite play as nicely with the greenery when I wrapped it. So we tie and we'll stick with the glue dot. And here I'll kind of encourage my berries to go over the tails. Really pretty, but not enough, not enough. I still have lots of these earth tone shimmer gems from Card Club. So I'm going to do something very subtle. We have a small space here, right? But sometimes more is just more. So I'm going to grab the vanilla gems and I'm going to add one right up here next to my bow. That's the big one. And then a little one kind of at an angle from it. And now we've got gold foil, gold thread in the ribbon, and some nice vanilla shimmer on the label. I think it's the perfect little treat. Sending thanks and much love. If you've got any questions about the project or about the 12 days of Christmas, collect them all, you guys. Email Marisa at kitchentablestamper.com. Be sure to get subscribed to our email newsletter. Our first of the email exclusive, day 3 of the 12 days of Christmas, is going to go out to email subscribers on Monday, November 18th. So you have to be a subscriber before the 18th to get day 3. So if you've got any questions, reach out, Marisa at kitchentablestamper.com. To shop Stampin' Up! 24/7, buzz over to marisalvarez.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.